Shravya. So I'll be teaching you a few chapters in social studies. I'll start off by telling you what are the four parts of social sciences, which are history, geography, civics and economics. In part 1 of your textbook, you have lessons covering geography and economics, while the second part of your textbook will be covering lessons from history and civics. So I will be taking a few lessons from part 2, that is from history and civics. I'll make you a very short note of the change in the syllabus you have. In the previous year's textbook, the 12th chapter was changing cultural trends in Europe, but in this year, that is 2021 edition, that lesson is deleted from your syllabus. So we will directly have to start with chapter 13, that is democratic and nationalist revolutions. So you will not be having changing cultural transformations in Europe. The chapter 12 in your previous year's textbook. If you already have bought it, no problem. That lesson you don't need to study. So we will directly start with chapter 13, that is democratic and nationalist revolutions. So in this chapter we will be majorly discussing about 17th, 18th and 19th centuries. In those centuries, what all happened in various continents of the world. Europe, America and Africa and all, we will be discussing about what all happened during that centuries in all the continents of the world. First, to start this lesson, we need to know what does democracy mean. So, you already have studied in your 6th, 7th and 8th classes of what democracy means, and I will tell you again. Democracy was defined by Abraham Lincoln as a government of the people, for the people and by the people. So, the major concept of democracy is people. So, it is the government of the people and it has to work for the people, that is for the benefits and usefulness of the people, and it is formed by the people, means whoever is in the government and whoever is ruling is also part of the people only. So that is democracy. And some more important rules of democracy or a democratic government are fundamental rights, equality, liberty, that means freedom, and elected representation. You already have studied about elections and representation as part of democracy. You will be studying in detail about that in your further lessons. So representation means, if for example there you have the school leaders meeting, so the leaders, class leaders of all the classes will come for the meeting. So in that, who are those class leaders? We call them, like the class leaders for example are the representatives of the class. For example, your 9th class will have a class leader. So if there is any problem in 9th class, you have to go to the principal and talk to them. Will you all go together, all the 30, 20, 25 students will all go together? No, only one person, like the class leader, will go to the principal or any teacher to talk about the problems or anything you want to tell to teachers or principal. So that person is the representative of all your class. So on behalf of all the classmates, one person is going. No, that person is called a representative. So when that person is elected by all of your class, then that person is called elected representative. In the same way, we elect in the elections, state and central elections, we will be electing MLAs and MPs, and MLAs means members of legislative assembly. So for the state, we will be electing leaders to go and represent us, means tell our problems and talk on behalf of us, the people in the state assembly, while MPs are members of parliament, are elected by us to represent our problems and issues in the central parliament. Okay. Now you know what democracy means. So was this democracy prevalent in many centuries ago or many years ago? No. There was different type of government in all countries in the world before centuries. Like we have to talk about 17th, 18th and 19th centuries. But even before 17th century, that is in 16th century, there was kingdoms, empires ruled by various kings and emperors. So democracy was not a concept, like it was not a form of government before 17th century. There were kingdoms, as I said. So before democracy we had kings who ruled countries or empires. So in that situation, kings were of full power, like kings are the only lawmakers. So whatever the king will say, all the people should follow that. So people did not have any participation in the government. Whatever the king used to tell, they have to follow, or however, how much ever the king asks us to pay as taxes, we need to pay. So there was no opportunity or chance for us to represent ourselves in the government. So in these kingdoms, people were divided into different societies, means number of small groups. So those societies were like, now we have different groups and states, no, like Gujarat, Maharashtra, etc. Like that, the kingdoms were also divided into many areas or many groups of people. So each society had their own plus and minus points. Some were rich, some were poor. Some societies had many resources like more of land, much forest and much land for agriculture production, and some others did not have it all. So there were differences between the societies also in those kingdoms. There was no equality. And coming to this kingdoms, where the kingdoms all the good, like all the kingdoms were not good. Some kings ruled very well in countries or empires, but some kings did not rule well. People suffered during that particular king's rule. So in such situations, when kings were not good, the people thought of fighting against the king and forming a different type of government. They did not want the kings to rule them anymore. For example, you have elected one class leader. If you have elected, or teacher has put that person as class leader also, for some days he or she might have done well, and after a few days, if that person is not behaving properly or not taking care of the class properly, what will you all do? You will ask the teacher to change the class leader. So likewise, the same way, we will the people of such empires were not happy with the kings or the king's rule. So what they did, they thought of asking, or they thought of providing themselves, like creating a new political system, that is a new type of government. They did not want any kings. So there needs to be some leader or some person to lead them again. So that person should not be the king. That is what their thought was. So in that situation, they have to fight against king's rule first. Then they have to build their own new political system, that is government. And they also have to establish or create social equality for themselves. Equality means equal rights without any discrimination. So any discrimination in sense, if I get that right, my next person also should get that same right without any discrimination. So in that sense, the kings, empires and kingdoms were transformed or changed into democratic political systems. So that we will be studying with new and other examples from different continents of the world. So first we will begin with Europe. So first we will see how democracy has also transformed or changed itself into through various stages. So democracy in 17th century is not the same democracy that we are living in today. India is also a democratic country, you all know. So is the India's democracy which we are living in today the same as 17th century democracy? No, it is not same. So the democracy as a democracy is not just a form of government, it is a process which will be changing over time. That is, through changing times, the government also changes itself according to the needs of the present situations. So democracy also has various forms. So as we go ahead in the lesson, as we talk about various countries, I will tell you about the different forms of democracy. So as we will start with Europe first, I will start with the England's glorious revolution in the next class. Thank you.